Hey guys, Jason here for Chart Guys, taking a look at gold. It's a fresh week, so we start with a wiped clean chart, and we basically just take a fresh crack at things, make sure we're not getting locked into any biases that we've had from the week before, and take a look at what's going on. So on the monthly time frame, we're halfway through this candlestick, and we're starting to see some consolidation. It is required. We are just below overbought on the monthly time frame, so I would not be surprised to see another month of downside action fitting inside this range, which would allow us to set up more long-term upside potential. On the monthly time frame, 1616 is a good target, and then above that, 1795, quite a ways to go, so we're not going to spend much time there. On the weekly time frame, there's our resistance, 1556. We've seen that pullback, and we have quite a lot of room to go. Anything below or above 1400 is going to keep us in a weekly higher high pattern. We can come all the way down, turn around, and still be in a nice solid weekly uptrend. So 1266, we got our low over here. What is this? 1381, a little bit of chop. Our new low, 1400. And then our current low, should we continue to pull up from this, 1483.22 with resistance at 1556.88. Zooming in now on the daily time frame, this is when things get interesting. There's that resistance. We pulled back from that pretty aggressively. We've broken the daily uptrend with a loss of this level over here, 1516 on August 30th, and we've come down, set a new low. We tried to get a little bit of a bounce going when we were rejected from 1524, and now we're in this area of chop, being held down and suppressed by our EMA 26 and 12, trying to figure out what we're going to do next. We are not overbought. We're right in the middle of the pack, so we're going to go to our weekly time frame, try to determine what's going on. You know what? We're still overbought. We still have a lot of room to the downside, and we can expect to see more downside movement, at least until we reach this EMA 26 on the weekly time frame. And that's just I guess a speculation on what potential outcomes we could have. We're not necessarily going to just completely go straight up at this point on the daily time frame. We have to be open to the idea that we got a lot of room all the way to 1400 for us to sit here on the weekly. So on the daily time frame, a lot of this current action is going to be dictated by what happens inside these candlesticks. We're going to a lot of volatility, a couple of ranges of support and resistance set up for us. So we need to zoom in, see what's going on in the 4 hour, and that might give us a little bit more insight. So zooming into the 4 hour time frame now, here's that range. We do have a base of support set up at that 1483 level. We see we've come down to that pretty recently at 1485 before bouncing up again. So we have the potential to set up a 4 hour equilibrium. It looks a little bit weird here, but we are getting that low, lower high, higher low, lower high. And currently we have support on the 4 hour time frame at 1495.80. We'll see if that comes into play more appropriately on probably the 15-minute time frame, this chunk here, to see what we're dealing with. But that 1485 level is something that bulls need to hold if they're going to continue in what is setting up to be a 4 hour equilibrium. Zooming in on the hourly time frame, here we are, 1495, still a lower high, lower low situation. Bulls need to hold that 1495 level and get back up above 1506.19 to regain this hourly uptrend that we saw coming into play nicely over here before this big spike to 1524. So a lot of back and forth right now, and this is what we expect to see. So we just had to play cautiously, watch these hourly levels, see what's going on, looking for a 15-minute channel, and there you have it. You could probably draw it out here if you wanted to really quickly. I would connect these two dots up here. I would look at my green candlestick, take this green candlestick, and then I would just click and drag and see what fits. And more or less, that contains the vast majority of your action. That's what I'm going to be using to dictate what sort of changes. I'm going to get a couple of bits of information from this trend. We're going to look to see when we break out of the trend, because that will show us the shift in momentum, and I'm also going to see if that correlates well with the change of the trend actually setting higher highs or lower lows, or whatever changes the course of events that we're seeing in this 15-minute time frame. So not a lot of clear information for us today on gold, a lot of chop, a lot of uncertainty, and possibly setting up a continuation of the downside in what really looks like a very, very strange bear flag at the moment, where we've got our big drop. Let's draw that a little bit more eloquently, our drop, and then our contained action fitting inside there. So if we go to the hourly time frame, that's sort of what that looks like. We get thrown for a little bit of a loop with this big spike, but that was pretty sold back almost immediately. So keeping an eye on this action. For me, it's all about this current trend we're seeing on the 15-minute time frame, and can we hold 1483 and 1485 support? If we lose those, we're going to be looking for more downside action. But if we can break above 15 12.02 on the hourly time frame, we have a chance at 15.24 and looking for more upside movement towards a potential 15.56 break. But keep an eye on that hot RSI because it will be quite hot by the time we reach that level. Anyway, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully we get a little bit more clarity and we will make some decisions at that time.